Well, welcome back to another one of my Redstone for Dummies tutorials, and today we're talking about rails and minecarts. Alright, and yes, we're rocking the shaders because I'm feeling fancy, and well, I do what I want. Haha. Anyway, shall we crack into it? Grand scheme of things, there's a few things to know about these. Um, and some of that comes in the realm of what they do. Right? But simply a minecart, a player can actually ride in a minecart if he wants. I turn the power on this on, so now it's going to keep going around and around, pointlessly, unless it collides into player, entity, whatever. Um, but we've got a handful of contraptions, as we usually do, to demonstrate some of the things. Now, first off, minecarts, when you place them, I'm trying to place it right now, does not work. A minecart has to be placed on a rail, and it doesn't matter which minecart you use. If it's empty, if it's the chest, the furnace, the TNT, with the hopper, any of them, they have to be placed on a rail. Now, once it's placed on that rail, it can be pushed off and it can be moved around. But the initial placement, it absolutely has to happen on a rail. All right, so what kind of rails do we have? We have regular rails, which are just these guys. You can set them up, you can place things on them, you can give it a nudge and it'll go for a while at least. You can get in a regular minecart and you can move forward and backwards using your W and S keys unless you've changed your key bindings. And that's what a regular rail does. And then we have the detector rail, which we'll demonstrate back there. Basically, when a minecart goes over a detector rail, it causes a power signal. We also have the powered rail, which does powery things. That's kind of what this is doing here, actually. When I power the rail, if I give this guy a little nudge, every time he goes over a powered rail, he gets a speed boost. If he doesn't get a speed boost every so often, he will just stop. Now, if a powered rail is unpowered, so turned off, it actually acts like a brake, and we can actually see that right here. All right. And when I turn it off, it just turns off. Now, if a minecart's up against a block when it touches a powered rail, it automatically launches it in the other direction. But if it's kind of in the middle like this, you turn it on, nothing happens. So you got to come, give it a nudge. And we can just hop in here and we can ride back and forth because, it's fun and exciting and it's new and we're learning stuff, right? So here's that detector rail. We can push the power, and you see once it goes across that detector, it powers on our redstone lamp. This one's kind of on the short side, so our lamp's coming back on relatively quickly. But if we had something that we needed to turn on at a certain point, and minecarts were a good way to do it, that activator rail, or not activator, the detector rail is a good way to do it. All right. Now, we can actually see here the brake feature. These are not actually powered. Now, if I power them, we'll go back and forth and back and forth. But if I turn it off, it slows down, and it's usually right about one block in the area that it stops. So all of this is, nifty up to a point, but there's kind of a limit to how useful this information is, right? But that's until you account for the fact there's more than one kind of minecart. So this is a minecart with a chest in it. You can take a stack of items in a hopper, chest, whatever, and you can fill up your minecarts with chests, which, it's got its purposes. It's got really high capacity, so if you need to move a bunch of stuff from here over to, say, I don't know, over there where my disc or my really ghetto light is that we set up with the doors, then you could easily do that with a couple of extra things, right? And that's when we get into slightly more complicated redstone. All right, so this is a minecart loading system. This minecart will not go anywhere until it has enough items in it. All right, so let's just use our redstone blocks. It filled up and it got a little boost. This set so it launches with just a few items in it. but we'll talk about how it works here in a minute. You can set it up so that it will not leave without a full inventory or something of that nature. But you can see it takes its items and it fills up and it keeps going over and over. Our redstone blocks are over here, so we're about halfway done moving our stack of redstone blocks over here over to here. Now you'll notice the chest is already empty, but he's still going back and forth, back and forth. And that can get kind of annoying. So we will combine it with a minecart unloader over there here in just a moment. Let's see, we got 10 blocks to go. So let's see, 4, 3, one more. So it should stop now, right? So what's happening is a minecart with a hopper on top of a detector rail, this also works for chests, can be read by a comparator. Now I have a comparator here in subtract mode with just enough items to give me a redstone signal. If there is nothing inside of this cart, as soon as this cart has anything in it, this will send out a signal, which will then counteract the one power signal that I have here, and it will retract my piston with my fence post on it, right? And then it goes on its way and it does what it does. So I've got that set up again right here, but I've also got a minecart unloader. All right, and we got some stuff in here. Let's go ahead and take it out. So the way that the unloader works is I have a comparator looking into a hopper under a rail, and I've got the rail set up. I'll show you how to set it up like this in just a moment. On an angle. So when something comes through, such as that guy, and he drops items into this hopper, this comparator will power this block, which powers this redstone dust, touching this block, which powers it, which powers our sticky piston here, right? So let's go ahead and take ourselves a stack of yellow wool, and we just had our launch, and you can see very similar. I've got just enough items in here that it's given me a one power signal, except when this guy's done. Now this guy stopped over here, like you can see, and oh, he just emptied out. All right, and he's back again, and we'll just watch. He's going to sit here and he's going to keep unloading until he empties out. Once he empties out, then the hopper down below will have to empty out one more item, and boom, now he's launched backwards. And to get the speed that I like, you can see I've got one redstone block here that's powering these powered rails. And that is adequate to run this whole system. Depending on how big your system is, you may need more power sources, more powered rails, configurations. But the unloader works perfectly well. Now, the reason I did not use a detector rail over here is because when this detector has something on it, it powers, and it's right on top of our hopper. So that would lock our hopper. So instead, I took my signal off the hopper and ran it up this way, right? So, that's that in a nutshell. Now, the question is, how do I get my rails to sit like this? Well, I actually start with wherever I want my rails to go, and I will put a bit up here, and our rails will go in an angle. And when I break the thing on top, all of a sudden, it will keep its shape unless there are some things that can happen power-wise that will cause it to lose this shape, but you don't have to worry about it for the most part. So then I can place a card on here and boop, boop, boop. If I'm not mistaken, this should lose momentum. Yeah, it's starting to lose some speed there. So it's going to stop here in a little bit because it doesn't have anything keeping it going. And one more maybe? Yeah, it's gonna keep trying. All right. So that's how I got these angled rails, and it works with any of your rails. If I wanted to set a powered rail here and take it up, I can do the same thing, right? let's see. Another thing I could actually do with the detector rail, if I wanted to, is I could detector rail into a powered rail like this. So when I give this guy, actually let's stretch him out. Let's use a couple of regular rails. So if I need like a speed boost somewhere, the detector rail should stay powered long enough. Nope, it did not. Figured it would. Will it work in the other direction? It should. I'm pretty sure it's fast enough. Go. Yeah, it seems to work in that direction. If you have a minecart up here, you can slip it back on rails pretty easy like that. Huh. Well, apparently that's a pretty good braking system. So let's see. Now that we know that that becomes a brake, you're on top of that. I don't think this will work. Yeah, that has to be on top of a detector rail. Just to be absolutely certain. Yep. So no detector rail, no dice. Although interesting feature. Let's see. Let's go with a hopper instead. Yes, we're designing redstone on the fly now. Detector into my powered rail. Okay, boom, boom. Let's see. You're currently there. Let's see. I want a powered block behind you. As long as you have any signal. This is going to get bigger fast. So any signal whatsoever will then power our redstone dust. I think it'll work without this dust on top. Hold on. No. Bam. Okay. So that's actually another minecart unloader if for whatever reason this isn't going to work for you. So, of course, why are you getting signal right now? You shouldn't be. Oh, huh, he's taking signal off of you. Okay, so let's go ahead. Minecart with chest. Set him up right here. Let's go ahead and put, I don't know, let's just put 8 items in you. Put you back. You're already empty. Wait. Oh. No, you cut the other 6. Hmm. Oh, no, it sent it back as soon as there was an item in here. But if I set you to subtract mode, with you, let's put, let's say like that much. Wait. Wow, hold on. Yeah, that should work. Okay, it comes up, it starts unloading. How much does it have to unload with what I did though? You're empty, you're full. Okay, let's start taking stuff away now. What point does it relaunch the minecart? Does it relaunch the minecart? this won't empty the cart, but it'll send something back once the hopper is so full. So this, I'm not sure what the application is on this per se. But yeah, so now the hopper, it's pulling and pushing at the same time, and it'll take a fairly long time for you to go. Oh, you know what I could do instead? Let's do this. Boop, boop, boop. Redstone torch. There we go. Oops. Redstone torch. And then this could be powered, except when there's items in the hopper. There we go. So if I send this back now with a full load, it'll go up. No, because it doesn't have enough time to turn you off. Applications. Anyway, redstone science. Sometimes a good idea is a good idea. Sometimes what you think's a good idea is a terrible idea. Trust me, I've experienced them all. But anyway, that's minecarts and rails in a nutshell. With a handful of useful little things, predominantly over here with the loader and unloader. Um, so if you got a lot of stuff to transport and collect and all that, hey, great way to set it up. In fact, let's just go over it again real quick. I did technically break it with this little bit, but let's go ahead and oh, what did I get rid of that I didn't mean to? Detector rail, detector rail. Boom. There we go. Boom. Minecart with hopper. There we go. So we've got our chest up here. Minecart with hopper can pull out of it. We've got a block on the back as a backstop to set up this angly bit. And a detector rail right there. We've got a comparator looking into it and sending out a signal or not. We have another comparator right here that was in subtract mode, and I must have clicked that at some point, is sending out a redstone signal until it's not. So once this guy powers on and sends anything through, it'll launch this guy. More items in this chest means this has to be fuller to be sent off. So like half an item of chests means that this has to have 2.5 stacks in it. And then on this side, it'll stop if there's items going through the hopper, because this comparator sees it, sends a redstone signal into the block, which powers the redstone, powers the block next to it, extends our piston until stuff stops flowing through the hopper. So yeah, that's loaders and unloaders, which in my opinion is the most useful components of these guys, as well as just generic collection systems. Some of the back and forth stuff you've seen in my beginner's playthrough is kind of what I'm talking about with that. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll learn something, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye now. So I kept Urban with the thing. And this is what I ended up coming up with. It was almost a good idea, not fully. But so another minecart unloader. Basically, it comes up when something's in the hopper. It powers this block, which powers this piston, which pushes this redstone block out. As soon as stuff stops flowing through the hopper, this piston loses power. It brings this redstone block back into this repeater, which powers this, and then it powers this powered rail, launches our cart back. See, that's how redstone's designed. You have a halfway decent idea, and then you start derping with things until it's like, hold on. But the first iteration of this, after I finally got it sort of working, was like 6 blocks long, and then I just started trimming down and trimming down. Anyway, I'm out of here for real this time. Bye.